I've never seen it quite like this, at least in a long time, where we're out here middle of March on Lake Winnipeg and you don't need tracks. And so, I mean, we've seen cars out here, we've seen pickups out here. We're driving this side by side without tracks. And you know what? This is a place where dreams are made. It's like tasting sugar for the first time when you come up to Lake Winnipeg. The number of fish you can catch and the big fish potential. But here's the deal. You don't ever come up here by yourself. You travel in a wolf pack, in the sense that you come up with a bunch of like-minded fishing friends, and you need that horsepower. You need those bodies to find fish up here because it's massive. And you just got to keep moving, looking for fish. And if you just have that mentality, sooner or later you're going to land on fish. But this opportunity has got such tremendous potential for big fish. Well, you know, thing about this, I mean, look how big this is, and there's people all over. I mean, you look in every direction, there's groups of people spread out. We're just going to go through the zone here, and biggest thing is finding the fish, you know. And I think the thing to stress on Lake Winnipeg is you got to make big moves, you know. Just don't get bogged down. This isn't a deal where you drill 20 holes to see if there's fish there. Drill one hole, either use forward facing sonar or give a little bit of time, but then you move 400 yards. You know, you make big moves to try to break down water. And so we're going to start a process here, which can be a grind. That's probably the part that isn't always pretty, is that sometimes you can have some tough stretches up here until you find them. But so what we're doing, we're in this search mode. We're just drilling a hole and just using active target. And I'm just basically just panning a circle. And this isn't a deal like when we're crappie fishing where you'll find a pot of fish and then you pace somebody off and drill over the top of them. Basically, I just do a circle, and I just want to see, is there 10, 15 fish, 6 fish, 7 fish? But you just pan a circle, and you just want to see how much life is in that circle. You'll pan circles and there's nothing, make big moves until you start seeing life. You'll see shiners, you'll see fish suspended. There's a few fish in here, actually. Yeah, I like what we're seeing here. I like the size of some of these marks. I think we just kind of get spread out in here and set up and see if we can run traffic, Jaden.
Absolutely.
Oh, yep, that's a giant, that's a giant. It's a giant, I gotta get it turned. Just out of nowhere. Yep, she's right there. Just gotta get her head turned. Come on. I'm just trying to keep her pinned. Oh. Come on up, baby. Yep, come on. Come on. Yep, here she comes. Here she comes. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Oh. Lake Winnipeg, baby. That's why you show up. Look at the head on her. Oh, you know, Lake Winnipeg, whether they're 17 inches or master angler class, they all got the same attitude. Just mean and powerful. Oh, just had her good, but even those barbless hooks just pops off just like that. Big flutter spoon, big fish. Gosh, that's a monster. Beautiful girl. Oh my goodness. You gotta love it. Gorgeous fish. I mean, thick back, emerald green, greenback color. I mean, what more can you ask for? But she's still charged up, so we're gonna get her right back. Oh, just gorgeous fish. There she goes. Woo! Winnipeg, baby. Gotta love it.
Oh, there's a good one. That fish just flew in. Transducer out of the hole here. Oh yeah, there's a walleye. Look at that. Fish just choked that rattle bait. Oh. It just choked it. Gorgeous walleye. Look at there, you can kind of see some kind of a growth on the Oh, look at there, more, almost like a tumor on that fish. But fish flew in and ate this. So, you know, we use rattle baits up on Winnipeg a lot, and there's a couple different things you can do. You can fish these naked at times and catch fish really well. I've been just adding a minnow. I've been just doing 2 prongs in it, just hanging it horizontal. Sometimes I'll even take a big minnow and hook it on the front and the back just so it hangs below it horizontal. Just add a little bit of scent. This water is dirty. When the fish are wound up, I mean, you can catch fish on flutter, spoons, rattle baits. It don't matter without any bait as long as you're working it. But I think day in and day out, you want to tip it with something.
So when you come to Lake Winnipeg, one thing you have to know is that the shiner population, what drives this fishery. The walleyes are constantly chasing shiners. And when it comes to shiners, shiners are pelagic bait fish, meaning they're an open water suspending bait fish. So when you come to Lake Winnipeg, it's not uncommon to see schools of shiners swimming in the top half of the water column, very often only a few feet below the ice. The walleyes, more often than not, will be right there with them. So today we're fishing right now on 15 feet of water, but even so, when you drop down, take your time, fish the entire water column. What do I mean by that? When you drop down, often what I'll do is I'll drop my lure down, I'll stop it every couple feet, give it a few good rips, jig it a little bit, drop down a few more feet, jig it, give it a little bit. What you're doing is you're giving the chance for those fish that are suspended to come over and attack. Even if you are dealing with bottom orientated fish, walleyes feed looking up. So they're gonna be able to see that bait from farther distance. You're gonna call and draw more fish to you. So when you come to Lake Winnipeg, remember, shiners, they're gonna suspend, so are the walleyes. Work the entire water column. You're gonna put a lot more fish topside if you do so.
Oh, I got one flying in here. Oh! Come on up here. Boy, look at those big head shakes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is the place where dreams are made if you love to walleye fish, if you love to ice fish. Oh! Wow. These barbless hooks just pop out, but look at that. Oh, oh. Never get tired of this place. I could come up here a lot more than I do. All right, look at that. Just the girth on these fish is just so impressive to me. There she goes. That's a long ways down too. And I don't know, there must be, I'm guessing 3 feet of ice. Most of the times when we come up here, it's 1 extension, sometimes 2 extensions. So there's definitely a lot less ice this winter, but makes it easier. But it's a long tunnel down there. So here's the bait. That's that new Psycho Shad from Clam. And basically just got a really loud rattle. You hear that? It's got a kind of a nice little wobble when you work it up. It darts and it vibrates, and just got a nice wobble. But just an excellent search lure, excellent lure when rattle baits are the ticket, like so often we see on Winnipeg.
You know, when I first started coming up to Lake Winnipeg, we didn't have forward-facing sonar. Well, times have changed. And forward-facing sonar is a great tool, but it's not always the best tool for every scenario. What I mean by that is, typically when I come to Lake Winnipeg, how I utilize my forward-facing sonar is when I pull up to a spot, I use it to look around and make sure I'm finding the right things. A couple key things I'm looking for with forward-facing sonar is there bait around? Is there enough fish for me to warrant sitting down and fishing? Are they the right size of fish? Now, when I find the right things I'm looking for and I sit down on a spot to actually fish, I'm still fishing with a Vexilar. What I've seen since I've been coming up here forward-facing sonar is from time to time,
fish get a little spooked by it. Usually I'll see them when they come in, they'll hug tight to bottom, refuse to come up, or they'll swim around and avoid me completely. Now when I sit down with a Vexilar, I typically see much more fish willing to come right underneath me, and the more fish you have come underneath you, the more you're gonna have that are willing to bite, and the more fish you have willing to bite, it's gonna be more catches and a more successful day for you on the ice.
That's a good one. Good fish. Oh, woo-hoo! Look at that. Oh, that's why people come up here. That is a trophy class walleye. We'll get that fish in the water. There she goes. Got him. Nice fish. Just really get off. Come on, turn that head, baby. Just gotta keep them pinned. You gotta hook it. Yep, yep. Oh, just another porker. Look at that. Barely get my hand around her, she's so fat. Just look at this build on these fish. Beautiful color. Ah, great fish. Get her unhooked. Oh, yeah, I know, girl. Marbles pops right out. It's a gorgeous specimen. Yeah, every fish at Lake Winnipeg just feels special. They're built so well, they hit so hard, they fight so hard. Every fish is enjoyable. Gosh, look at her. Back she goes. Later, mama. Let's do it again. I guess, we're picking spots to set up in the sense that, we're drilling a hole, putting the active target down, doing a scan. If there's a lot of activity in the area, we'll slow down and fish it. And, we'll maybe give a spot, maybe half an hour. We'll just see what kind of flow of fish we get. We'll just run track, nothing. Then we'll, if you're on fish, feel like you have to make small moves just to stay on it. But if it's just void of life, just keep making big moves, and if you're not seeing anything, don't hesitate to go 300-400 yards. Make some big moves until you just see signs of life. You're going to see shiners. You're going to just see fish and activity. And the thing about this is that these schools of fish are big. There's a massive amount of fish in this lake. And so that's part of the hunt. That's part of the grind. But the neat thing about this is it's not like structure's important. There's some little nuances and subtle things out here that can hold fish. But basically, it's just whoever works the hardest wins. And that's the whole key out here is just roll up your sleeves, drill holes, move. And remember this too, when you're not catching fish, you're gonna have some down days where physically you just get beat up. But the thing about it is that next hole, that next move can be the spot. And so you just have to have that persistence in your mentality, because when you get up here, the lows are low, but the highs are high.
There we go. Gosh, they got, even the little ones, man, they just all have that Lake Winnipeg attitude. Just he's still finned up, perked up, and mad. God, they have attitude. I can't stress that enough. So much fun. So much fun. Every fish is worth coming to Lake Winnipeg when they have an attitude like that. Just gotta love it. As it's been said many times before, shiners are the forge that make this Lake Winnipeg system go. That's the key forge. So that's gonna be the bait you're gonna want to use. Typically when you come up here, you're gonna be picking up some kind of preserved shiner, whether frozen or salted. And as great as they are, as much as walleyes love them, they can be kind of annoying to deal with. Typically they're not the most hardy. They don't last very long. They can get a little mushy. They don't stay on hooks really well, especially jigging as aggressively as we are to call these fish in. But one tip I can give you guys, if you want them to stay on longer and get, the most run time out of each minnow, everyone's typically used to hooking them, through the head, through the back. what I found with these shiners is your toughest part of that minnow is gonna be right here at the base of the tail, right kind of about half an inch above the spot. So typically I'll hook right through there, and you can feel how tough it is when you put through, you know, all the muscle fibers it has in there. You hook them like that, that minnow's gonna stay on a lot longer. You're gonna have a lot better success and catch a lot more fish when you come up here to Lake Winnipeg.
You know, so whenever we've been up on Lake Winnipeg, you know, we always kind of focus on that south end of the lake, basically where the Red River dumps in. I think that's probably where 95% of the fishing happens on Winnipeg. But, you know, the reality is, you know, especially in the fall and the spring, there's a lot of stuff happening up by Hecla. And so we wanted to break up this trip and just do a little road trip or spend some time in the South Bays and then come further north and just kind of explore and check it out. It's kind of a, I guess what you call an exploratory mission. We have no idea what we're going to run into up here, but one of the things that we've heard, you know, just from doing a little bit of research is that there's a lot more structure up here. And so it isn't as shallow as what you see on the South Basin. There's points, there's gravel and rock transitions. In places, there's a lot more current, and so you definitely have to be wary of ice conditions, but the locals up here will show you where the bad ice conditions are. I mean, you'll see it on a map. It's basically the main chute where all this current comes from the lower end of Lake Winnipeg and it comes up to the upper end of Lake Winnipeg. But when you look at the water that's further north here, it's intriguing because it's so massive. You know, we fish a tiny little piece of it and you have this big lake, and so at some point you have to wonder what else is up here.
There he is. Feels like a good one.
Let me get that transducer.
Come on. There it is, Jason. Hey.
Hey,
All right.
nice.
See what I got that one on?
Oh,
Rattle
yeah.
and blade spoon.
That fish just looked like it flew in and just crushed it. That's what I love about this, is how aggressive these fish are.
Funny how some of them are a little hesitant, but the ones that commit, there's
Yeah.
no hesitation, no nothing. They're there to eat, and that's it.
No doubt in your mind.
Yep.
There he is, there he is. Oh, this is a good fish. This is a good one. Oh,
Want me to grab him for you?
I'll take all the help I can get, buddy. This is a heavy fish. You know, these barbless hooks too, you just have to kind of tighten your drag a little bit and just crank. Should be able to see it.
There it is, Jason.
I got him. Oh,
Nice fish. There you
The
go.
greenback. Look at the build on that fish.
Thing is fat.
Wow. I love this place. Look at the, just, you know, these fish are just, not only do they look different as far as the color, but just look at the build. You know, the short, stubby dorsal fin, the big, fat lips. Everything about a greenback is just big.
Incredible fish. Incredible fishery.
Yeah. Oh, this is special. This is special. And this is kind of a cool area too, where it's a little different. You know, we did a little exploring on this trip, and you know, come up further north here, and it's a lot more structure fishing, transitions. You know, and it maybe doesn't feel so random. I mean, I think both ends of the lake have a lot of merit, but yeah, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. Oh, golly, I never get tired of looking at that. Oh, is that cool? Oh, is that cool?
Nice fish, man.
Oh, they fight so hard too. I mean, they just wait. I mean, that's the thing, is some of these strikes from these fish, I mean, they're violent. I mean, they hit it so hard sometimes it's almost like they take out drag. They squawk the drag when they crush some of these baits. I mean, it's some of the hardest strikes I've ever seen from a walleye on Lake Winnipeg. Unbelievable place.